Hello, subscribers. Welcome to a live stream. This is going to be a double feature. We're going to talk about the Gold Box engine I'm working on and give an update on that. And then immediately following that, we will do some more Wizardry 8, Expert Iron Man, single character. So let's get going here and talk about some of these updates. All right. So first thing I'm going to talk about is some enhancements and changes I made to the base rules for race level limitations. So the original game, we're talking first edition, has level caps on races based on not only class, but the attributes that the character has for those classes. I always thought it was, I understand the concept behind it, but I always thought it was way too severe, that there's a much better and cleaner solution. So, after a lot of consideration, the solution I came up with is we don't limit the levels. However, there's a big penalty to experience. So, it will really slow down the characters. If you invest enough time, you could still get those penalty characters all the way up to maximum level. But just to give you an example, we're going to just create a human here. And you can see I've also added in the illusionist. I'm not sure if I talked about assassin last time. We're going to be demonstrating some of that today as well. But we have assassin and illusionist now. But just to show you, we'll start with a fighter. And right now I have the engine set to give 550,000 experience for a starting character. That's not going to be in the game. Curse the Azure Bonds. It's going to be the default 25,000. But I'm doing this so you can see the difference here with level caps and what would happen in game. So 550,000, that's normal. So let's create a halfling. And you'll notice that halflings have more options here now. I am basing these options off the Unearthed Arcana book, which is a first edition Dungeons and Dragons book. So it's kind of, to me, it's kind of an update that Gary Gygax gave to first edition. It has some extra classes in it, like the Barbarian, which I plan on implementing. So the class updates that I'm doing based on levels is in that. So, but anyway, halflings have limitations as fighters in the original game. So let's pick a fighter. You'll notice the level cap has been set at 11 here, and it puts a little asterisk next to it. So we can tell that the character is hitting penalties on being a fighter. Let me try let's do a multi-class. We'll do an elf fighter magic user. Okay, now if you look at the experience, it shows 128,334. You might be like, why is that such a weird number? So we're taking the 550 and we're dividing it by the character. And you see, sometimes you'll see it go up to 165,000 there. We're divided by the number of characters because they are classes because they're multi-classed, and the attributes impacted. So when you're seeing a 165, one of the attributes for one of those classes is high enough where it didn't limit one of the previous levels. Here you can see a 9 asterisk here. So they've reached a limitation on magic user and fighter so that in the future any experience they gain will be cut. It'll be cut down. So hopefully this makes sense for you that are people that are veterans of gold box games, but that's essentially what we've done here is we've made experience penalties based on race caps and attribute caps. Doesn't prevent you from getting to those higher levels, but it really does slow it down, and those characters will start falling behind the more pure non-level capped. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set back my experience to 5 million as the default, because that allows me to show off a lot more of what we've developed. All right, so let's create some things here. Let's do a half orc. Let's just do a straight assassin. You can see they have to be evil. Doesn't really matter here. Let's see if we can get a Thaco boost. There we go. Okay. Let's create an illusionist so we can show some of those spells. Let's create cleric so we can show if there's any new ones there. Do a, I don't want to do another cleric. We'll do a magic user. Do a druid. And looks like I got something on the gnome I gotta fix there. Let's do a dwarf cleric. Again, Unearthed Arcana rules. Okay. Some testing in here. Let's memorize some spells. So here's the cleric spell list. We'll talk about new ones that were added to Curse of the Azure Bonds. Now remember, this gold box engine I'm making will work with all the games. I plan on remastering all of them and creating new ones potentially. So this engine includes way more than even Pools of Darkness includes, which was the final Forgotten Realms game. So Curse of the Azure Bond stops at level 5 with spells. You can see here I've added in some of these are in the other gold box games, like Pools of Darkness, like Heal and Harm was there. Conjure Animals was not. 7th level spells, Earthquake was not. I think I showed that last time. Holy Word and Unholy Word did not exist. Energy Drain did exist, but I added it back in. Okay, let's see. We'll have this cleric do Energy Drain. Druid. So I've talked about some of these already. Let me talk about the new ones. There's a Warp Wood spell that I added. This will allow you to ruin any type of equipped weapon or armor. It's mainly weapons on an enemy. If they have it equipped, like a sword, it'll ruin the handle so they can't use it. I pick and choose which types of weapons it affects. It affects most. And according to the rules, it can even ruin magic weapons. So I implemented that as well. The other thing this spell can do in the game is I've made it an alternative to the knock spell. So the rules say if it's a wooden door, it can knock the door off of the hinges. So essentially, if a door is bashable and you can knock it, then Warp Wood will work on it. If it's not bashable, and it can only be opened by knock, then warp wood will not work on it. But that's the rules on the door. Okay, let's see. What else did I add? I added some of these that I hadn't talked about but are already existing, like cure disease, neutralize poison. I did add protection from fire. That was in some of the gold box games. And remember, rangers can get third level druid spells, so keep that in mind. These third levels are kind of cool because that'll make the rangers even that much more strong. We have summon insects, plant growth, and hold animal. Those are all new spells. 4th level, I'm going to add in, or I'm going to memorize animal summoning 1 here. There's protection from lightning, which this could be super useful in some of the gold box games because there's a lot that cast lightning bolt. And I know in Pools of Darkness, there's a lot of dragons that breathe lightning, and they are brutal. So it says lightning, but in reality, the rules talk about it protecting you from electricity. So I don't know why they named the spell protection from lightning, but they did. But it protects you from all forms of electricity. Call woodland beans. Memorize a couple of that, and then there's hold plant. Okay, and then we have sticks to snakes and animal summoning 2 for the druid. Everybody knows what sticks to snakes does. I'll memorize 1 just because it does have a poison effect now, potentially. And we'll see if we can get that to trigger. Okay, level 6. Cure critical wounds, feeble mind, those are already known. So animal summoning 3 and conjure fire elemental. And then level 7 spells. Confusion, conjure earth elemental, creeping doom, finger of death, firestorm, and animate rock. So let's do, for now we'll do creeping doom and firestorm. And we'll show the rest of some of those hopefully in a bit here. And we'll memorize some illusionist spells and magic user spells here. Okay. I don't know if I've talked about any of the illusionists. I think I have. I've talked about color spray and dancing lights. But let's just go ahead and do it again, assuming I didn't do a good job explaining them. There are more spells than I'm showing here, but based on what I've set for the automatic spells you get based on your character level, that this is what I have set. 2nd level spells, blindness and mirror image. 3rd level, fear. So these are the only ones I've implemented so far. 4th level, confusion. 5th level, summon shadow. And then 6th level, conjure animals and death fog. So that's all I've implemented so far. The level 7 spells, it's very, very limited on the illusionist. It's kind of weird. I'm going to make, there's a couple prismatic type spells that I'll definitely implement, but besides that, there's not a whole lot of options, including when I looked in Unearthed Arcana. Okay, let's do some Stinking Cloud because I want to show an effect I've added recently. Let's see. Conjure Elemental. Let's get a couple of those memorized. That's a new one. Monster Summoning 4. Delayed Blast, Fireball, Power Word Stun. Those, you know what those do. I do plan on making Delayed Blast. Make it where you can choose when it goes off. Because it used to do that and then they removed that. So that it always just went first. So I've changed that. I'll change it so you get a pick when it goes off. The other thing is the rules say nothing about Delayed Blast Fireball doing more than 1d6 damage. So in the gold box game, they have it do, I think, either 1d6 plus 1 or 2 to 6 or something like that. It's not legit. that's not what the rules say. So I'm backing it off to 1d6, just like the original rules specify. I'm guessing they did that because it was a level 7 spell and they removed the ability to fire it at whenever you want. I'm not sure though, because it bypasses Globe of Invulnerability, so it has that benefit. It also can be cast instantaneously, so it did not need the damage boost. So I don't know why they broke the rules, but that's what they did. Okay, we got Power Word Blind. Now this is a new one, Bigby's Clench Fist, that did not exist in the games. And then level 9, we have Monster Summoning 7 and Bigby's Crushing Hand, which again didn't exist. So we're going to memorize the Bigby's. And then there's a couple more things I want to show. I want to show the Assassin's Poison. And then I want to show Flasks of Oil. I implemented an enhancement to those, which does what the rules say it should do. Should have an extra little fire effect on round 2. So let's go buy a bladed weapon for the assassin so we can show the poison. Let's just get him a longsword, shield, leather. I'm just going to buy some armor here just to try to have a less chance of getting hit. Shield. Okay, Druid. I've talked about them before. They have a bit of weird. They can wear padded armor. It's kind of strange, but Illusionist, very limited selection, just like Magic User. All right, so we'll go buy some Flasks of Oil. But first, let's move the Assassin up here. Okay. Okay, Clerics, you can throw Flasks of Oil. They go big, yeah, they can definitely hit with those. Okay, Assassins, we're not going to worry about getting oil for you. All right. Now, the reason why I'm going back to rest again is because of the poison effect. It takes an assassin an hour, according to the rules, to prepare their weapon with poison. So I have it automatically do that if you have a bladed weapon in your inventory. And depending on the level of the assassin, it determines the strength of the poison. So since we're level 15, we're way beyond the level you need to get the deadly poison. I think I made that level 12. Level 9 is where you start getting just the class A poison, the weakest form. And then it goes level 10, you get B, level 11, you get C, and level 12, you get D. And it automatically applies the most powerful poison. Okay, so that's been applied. You can actually see it here in the magic description that the assassin has blade venom. Class D. So let's go get in a fight. I keep using these bar patrons as my testing because it's real easy. Okay, so we'll show the poison first. That's the first thing assassins have. And then we'll show a special technique they have after that. So you saw the bar patron just got poisoned. The way the poison works, according to the rules, is you get 2 hits with it and then it's gone. And then you have to get it again. So if you rest it again after the battle for about an hour, you'll reapply it. Now, if you miss or don't penetrate, it does not use up the poison. And of course, the enemy gets a saving throw against poison. And that saving throw is adjusted based on the strength of the poison, the class. That's the only one that kills instantaneously. The A, B, and C do damage over the next round or couple rounds. Okay, Druid. Man, we got a lot to choose from here, don't we? Let's do Warp Wood first. Illusionist. Let's do Summon Shadow first. And Cleric. Let's have you throw a flask of oil. Let's move up here. So we're going to throw oil on this guy. Okay, so he caught on fire. It said that message real quick. He took 5 damage and he caught on fire. Just keep that in mind. This guy right here. I probably should add an effect that shows that he's on fire too. Like little text description here. Okay, now we'll do Stinking Cloud because I've added an effect that another streamer asked about named Kiffer. And I had already planned on doing this, but since he asked about it, I figured I'm going to do it earlier. So let's cast Stinking Cloud. I'm going to place it right here. So you can see normally you can only go 3, a distance of 3. Let's send it right here. And this would normally be the upper left corner of it. Okay. Now what happens is you're given this option, position. NA is the default. That goes with the default behavior the game originally had. Otherwise you can say, make it go to the left, center it, make it go to the right, up or down. So I'm gonna do down here. Because remember, I cast it, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but I cast it, yeah, you can, right up here to the upper left. So it went down from, let me show it. So instead of it appearing here, it actually went down to down here. And it makes more sense once you start playing with it, but it allows you to offset. You could cast it right on yourself and say right, and it'll move to the right 2 places. So it's a little weird when it's an even number of tiles because the center isn't truly a center. Like Cloud Kill is an odd number of tiles, so that center really applies correctly. But the 2x2 is a little weird from that perspective. But anyway, that allows you to control where it goes. So if you cast it to the upper left, normally it always came down, you couldn't push it past where you wanted it to go. So that's been changed. Let's see, I memorized Blade Bearing, Conjure Animals, Holy Word. Holy Word's not going to work on these because I think these guys are neutral and it would only work on evil. So let's do Conjure Animals. Okay, so we just summoned a shadow and we just summoned an animal. So you can see it summoned a mammoth and then the shadow was summoned. Here it is there. And let's do Warp Wood on this guy. Notice he has a short sword equipped. His short sword was ruined. And if we look, it's no longer equipped. This guy just took 3 damage. He was the guy, if you remember, he caught on fire from the flask of oil. So since it's the next round, he took 3 damage from that. And then the effect's gone. So it's not that big of a deal, but early on that could be a pretty significant advantage. Plus it makes those flasks of oil a lot more useful. Hey, Wolfsight, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Okay, let's do Summon Insects next. Let's come up here and cast it. It's not what you think. It doesn't summon something to fight for you. Let's show off the cloud effect again. Let's do Death Fog this time because this thing has a huge area. We'll do a Blade Barrier, even though we know what that does already. And let's do a Big B's Crushing Hand. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. Let's do a Crushing Hand on... Well, those guys are helpless. Let's do it on this dude. Squeezed by Giant Hand. Okay, he took 2 damage. So that's going to keep happening every round. If we look at him, you can see it has Big B's hand on him. You can attack the hand, because that's one way to get rid of it. Otherwise, it'll just last for a really long duration based on the caster's level, or until they die. You're doing good. Glad to hear that, Wolf Sight. Going over a parts list for a mod you want to do. Cool. What kind of game is that for? All right, the assassin, what we're going to do... Well, I need to use up one more of the poison. Let's just hit that guy in. Okay, well, that guy made his saving throw versus poison because he didn't die. Let's put a blade barrier on this guy. Let's just say NA, so it goes with the default behavior. Shadow ran off to Never Never Land. Okay, the Death Fog I'm going to put here. And then I'm going to say right. And see what it did was it put the fog to the right of where the cursor position was. The mammoth just ran into the blade barrier. This Death Fog is a huge area. You can see it is basically taken over the entire battlefield from the position to the right where I placed it, all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. In fact, it got the shadow down here because he had ran off to the right. So I had to do the cloud positioning even for something like that, because if you do center of the Death Fog, it takes up the whole battlefield and it hits everyone, which, hey, you could do that. It's kind of like a Heroes of Might and Magic Armageddon in that case. Hey, Sever, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Okay, so we got Death Cloud on him, which does acid damage over time, and it increases each round. Okay, let's just have you... quit. Summon insects. Alright, I guess we'll put them on... it's too far. We'll put them on my own cleric. He's swarmed by insects. Now you can see the Death Fog proccing because it's a new round. And then the blade barrier just procced on the mammoth and he died. A controller mod for Odyssey 2 system you picked up recently. Ah, okay. Cool. I see. So you're talking about a hardware modification. Okay, Druid. Let's do plant growth. This is kind of a weird spell. Magic user. Let's do Big B's Clench Fist. Shadow's running through the Death Fog. He's gonna die. Oh boy. Okay, energy drain. Let's energy drain one of our own characters. Let's energy drain the assassin. You did Death Fog. Conjure animals. Let's do Dancing Lights. Yeah, Dancing Lights. A vague humanoid figure appears. Okay, now let's look at the assassin. He's level 15. The dwarf just got swarmed by the insects. He took damage. let's put Clench Fist on this guy. He got stunned, so he took 8 damage and he got stunned. Okay, time to level drain the assassin. He lost a level. His max hit points have gone down, and when we look, he's level 14 now. Okay. So Bigby's hand just did more damage to that guy. Plant growth. Let's put it here. Oh, it can only be cast outdoors. I forgot. I was doing testing with it and I flipped the flag back to making it only outdoors. Okay, well, essentially what it does is it puts across the whole terrain in the area, it puts shrubbery on the ground, which causes movement to be decreased. So as you walk through it, it slows them down a lot. So it's kind of cool. If you did it outside and some enemies were far away and they're the type that are going to come towards you, it could drastically cut down their ability to get to you while you're hitting them with spells or ranged weapons or whatever. Okay, what else? Let's do Call Woodland Beans. Now we can see here the image that was summoned from the dancing lights. I had to get creative on that spell and figure out what it could do. But basically it summons an invulnerable figure that you can move around that can't really attack, but you could position it to as a decoy so something could attack, or position it somewhere where it could block something from getting to you. What are we casting here? Okay. We already did conjure animals. We did summon shadow. Let's do blindness, I guess. It's interesting because it can't be cured by cure blindness. It's can only be dispelled with dispel magic. So it's a special kind of blindness. So when you go to the temple to cure it with cure blindness, it won't work. Let's cast on this guy. It also has a decent range to it, whereas like cause blindness, the curse spell, I think you have to touch the target and you have to be within touching range. So that blindness spell's much better. Okay. What else can we show? So the bar patron's stunned, the fist still hit him again. All right, now you get full control of the image. You can see there's only move, aim, and done. So the aim is so you can actually look. So you can look around the battlefield with it. Otherwise, we can just move, and he has 12 movement. Now, I don't know. He should be invulnerable to his blade barrier, but I'm not sure I tested it. Okay, I did. Good. Should be immune to almost everything. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, if I'm pushing to the left, I cannot attack. Done. Oh, the Call Woodland Beans is also outdoors only. Okay, well, can't show that one then. Hold plant, self-explanatory. We can do animal summoning too. We already did those. Confusion, self-explanatory. Okay, we'll do color spray. So this is kind of like a small cone effect. It spreads out like a little cone, distance of 2, and it has various effects depending on the hit dice of the monster. So it didn't work on them. Okay, animal summoning, a warg or a tiger? Let's get a tiger. You get a choice. So it looks like we summoned 2 of those. Let's see, I didn't do animal summoning 1. Let's do that. Okay. Now you'll notice, unless he didn't hit this one successfully, but it says gray blinded. So that's what the blindness spell has, is it does gray blindness. And then helpless. Even though you're helpless, it's not a guaranteed kill when you hit that. It checks based on the rules. I looked it up. It's supposed to apply the assassin table, even if you're not an assassin. So it compares your level to the target's level, and the difference makes it more or less likely to get a cruel blow. Otherwise, it just does a normal attack. So I suspect, yeah, see how this one has taken damage? It has 14 hit points. The tiger did hit it, but it did not kill it, even though it was helpless, because based on the tiger's level versus the bar patron's level, and it rolling the dice, it was not a killing blow. Which is cool, because the opposite's true for you. If you get held by priests or clerics, you're not, or even slept by a mage, you're not guaranteed to be killed. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're done with his spells. Now, animal summoning 1, we can get crocodiles or wild boars. Let's do crocodiles. Looks like we summoned 4 of them. Ah, Sever's on a 5-stream watch streak. Nice. Wolfside says the controllers were hardwired to the system, but one controller, the action button doesn't work, and the other had bad drifting issues. Oh, hardwired. That's rough. But yeah, that's how it used to be, isn't it? They used to hardwire stuff. Okay. What else? Let's go ahead and conjure a fire elemental. There it is. Summon insects still working on the dwarf. So if you just noticed, it happened quickly, but this one attacked the image and he took 0 damage. So the decoy worked and it didn't do anything to the image. And summon insects still putting in work there. There goes the fire elemental. It's all cluttered up, the battlefield, so they're not being very effective. Okay, let's do Creeping Doom next. This one's really interesting. Alright, I'm going to put this... Where do I want to put this? Doesn't have far of a range. Let's put it... Let's put it right here. Again, it's considered cloud-based, so we get to pick where we want to drop it. I'm going to go with NA, just the default. Well, or do I want to do... Do I want to do right from there? If I do right, it'll be all the way over here, I believe. Let's do center just for fun. Okay. So there it is. Yeah, it did center it because I think I put it here. So it took the bottom right. Since it's an even number, you can't truly center it. But it put it right here. So here's the Creeping Doom. A bunch of insects. And now we'll watch it crawl each round. I'm going to leave him here. Cleric, we're going to have you defend. Hey, DC Bueller, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? You'll notice it already moved. You see it, it's moving downward based on where the position was and where I aimed it. It's going down this direction. So just waking up, random question about trolls and other regenerating creatures. I forget if the fire spells perma killed them. but it was always a pain to remember what spaces trolls died on so I could stand on them. Is there a way to make maybe a corpse silhouette of dead trolls and regenerating creatures so you could keep them down? Excellent question, DC. And yes, I could do that. Yes, I could take their original graphics and maybe just turn them like, I don't know, gray or something, and display it on the ground and leave it there. But yeah, that's a good feature. I really like that. Good suggestion. Because I agree with you. Since they just disappear, it's like, wait a minute, are they gone? And to answer your other question, I don't believe so. When I've been looking at the code, this decompiled code, I don't think they get perma-killed, even though the rules say that they should. And that's something I will implement. I will make fire and acid damage be permanent damage to them. Okay. So Creeping Doom's going down. Let's do, how about a Firestorm? Let's move over here and do it. This thing takes up a huge area too. I'm going to put this guy right here, the Illusionist, right in front of the Creeping Doom for the next round. Okay, we're going to cast it here, and I'm going to say down. So you can see it pushed the Firestorm to a position below where the cursor was. It takes up such a gigantic area that it spreads, over to the left and to the right. But being able to control it with the cloud positioning now really helps. But you can see how huge the area is. And it only lasts one round. Firestorm only lasts one round, but it hits a huge area. Okay. Creeping Doom moved down. I don't know if you saw that, but it did move down and it killed my character. He was stuck in the Creeping Doom. The Creeping Doom, essentially what it does is it does up to 1,000. It does 500 to 1,000 damage maximum over time. It essentially does 500 to 1,000 insects. They each have 1 hit point. And they do up to that amount of damage to an individual target or multiple targets, but each one dies when it bites or stings the enemy. So think of it as having the ability to do a maximum of 500 to 1,000 damage, either over time or as it moves or as something steps into it. And then it goes away either when all those hit points are gone or the duration runs out, the magic user. And it'll just keep going downward. I did make it go over walls too. So the insects, like once they reach this wall, they're going to crawl over it and keep going. So that's another cool effect, is it's a spell that'll actually go through walls if you need to reach something. That Death Fog and Firestorm will also do that because the area is so huge. Just picture it as being almost like just a giant cloud that just engulfs anything, goes around the walls and just engulfs everything behind it. It's a really cool effect. DC says, I know in tabletop fire spells and acid did the trick. Wasn't sure about Goldbox. Yeah. And I think the manual may even say something about it. It is permanent or something, but it's not. They didn't implement it. You feel like the shake and bake kid? And that helped. Yeah, that's right. All ideas are welcome, guys. Especially if you're veterans of the Gold Box like DC and you want something's always either bothered you or you've always thought it'd be cool if, all suggestions are welcome, because I'm implementing the rules the way that they should be. I'm fixing things that they didn't do right in the first go. Well, in any of the goes, really. Gold box. Yeah, Firestorm's huge. What the quicking about the Firestorm spell? And Creeping Doom was annoying in a good way. Sorry, DC, I don't know what you mean. What was what the quicking? Okay. What else do I want to talk about? Is there anything? Ground cleared of insects. I don't think there's anything else really, unless somebody has questions. But yeah, I just keep adding in more spells that were missing in the original version. Oh, Firestorm was insane looking, like covering the whole map practically. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I will show. Let me also show the plant growth because that one is cool. I'll change it real quick so that it can be cast indoors. Just because it's interesting. I created some custom graphics for it. We'll do that real quick. Be it unless people have more questions. I think this is the party. Yeah. Oh, the assassin. That's what it is. Okay, defend. Let's just show the assassin's technique here. So we attacked that guy from behind. Okay, now we'll go ahead and do plant growth. All right, so assassin's coming up from behind. We distracted the bar patron from the front. Now you'll notice we attacked from behind and we get this option. According to the rules, they can either assassinate, backstab, or normal. So I mean, why would you not do an assassinate? So there we go. We just killed him with one cruel blow. It was a successful assassination. Well, I guess sometimes you may want to do a backstab. If they're much higher level than you, the level difference would make a difference. Like drastically cut down the chance of getting an assassinate. So you may want to do the backstab so you could just do the extra damage. Hey, Gromulan and Draconic Dude, welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing? This is a remaster of Curse of the Azure Bonds, but I'm remaking a whole engine for all the games. So it's going to be a universal engine that I'll be able to. There's no level caps or anything. So once I redo Pool of Radiance, you'll be able to have level 9 spells and all these new classes and everything. But yeah, check out my YouTube channel or the Discord. The Discord server is even better because I post a lot of updates there. You lurk so much you want to say hi now and then, Draconic? Well, hello there, and I'm glad to hear that. And hang on a second, guys. I gotta let my dog out real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I am back. Let me look at the text here, the chat. Let's see. Are you still here, DC? So I can answer your question if you are. Oh, and welcome, ADM. I'm assuming that's Adam, but I don't know that for sure. Can check out the YouTube channel, sure. Okay, so DC's probably not here. He had to take care of his doggy too. Yes, my plan is oh wow, Sever, thank you so much. He just gifted a tier 1 sub to DC Bueller. Thank you, Sever. I really appreciate that. You're always so generous. It means a lot to me, the support. Thank you. So DC asked, the next question is there a way you can start a party from the story of Pool of Radiance and carry through the various games? Yes, my plan will be you will be able to create a character and transfer them all the way through, and including full power, getting all your items, keeping all your items. If you leveled your characters up to 15 in Pool of Radiance, because remember the level caps are going to be on, you will be able to bring them level 15 to Curse the Azure Bonds. It would take you ages to get to that point, but you could do it. Okay. So, plant growth. Here we go. So this one's interesting. I'm just going to cast it right here. You select the growth because you can determine, do you want it to be 2x2, 4x4? Let's go for the 16 because that's cool. And I'm going to center it. So you can see what it did here. It just created a massive amount of plant growth everywhere. Here's the edge. And if you move, if you notice, I have 12 movement right now, and each step is taking twice as much. So that's what it did. Some spells take a lot more effort to implement, but I'm still doing them because it's cool. It gives you more tactics in the game. This was one of those. But once I program it into the engine, then if there ends up being any other spells that have somewhat of a similar effect, then I can take advantage of that. And then it's faster to implement those spells. So. Yeah, Draconic Dude says, woohoo, I can finally get my grind on in the gold box games. That's right. You could go in and kill Tyranthraxis as a level 18 druid. You'll need to wait till it's done. Yeah. Well, the curse one here, the game's fully playable, fully functional. The base engine I took, which again, once I release this, I'm gonna give credit to the person that developed and well, they decompiled the original code and converted it to C#. So they're going to get full credit for all that. But I don't want to say the person's name until that happens because they said in the disclaimer that they don't want to endorse or anything other people's derivative works off of this. So I'm just going to wait until then. But anyway, I've greatly expanded that, and the project looks like it's been dead for quite a while. So, okay. Anything else? I don't think so. I did Firestorm. Did I do Animal Summoning 3? I don't think I did. Let's see what we get. Showed the assassinate. Okay, so we can get a huge mantis or a giant slug. Let's get a giant slug. We got 2 of them. See if they spit acid real quick. Yep. But they missed. Okay. Well, anyway, that's enough of that. We're right around the hour mark, so cool. We'll be able to switch over to Wizardry 8 now. But anyway, yeah, it's fully functional, the game. I'm hoping to have a playable version of this with a bunch of new spells and all this completed within about a month or two. And I'll have it downloadable on my Discord channel. I do say you have to have a valid copy of either, well, of Curse of the Azure Bonds. So I'm gonna put in Logic to look for the game files or where you pointed to the game files, because I don't own the intellectual property rights to this, obviously, and I don't want to jip or have any kind of monetary loss for the companies that own that. So that hopefully would even encourage people to go out and buy the games just so that they could then apply this mod and get the upgraded version. So fully transparent there. I'm not looking to make a dime. I'm doing this because I'm trying to help the gaming community. I want people to be able to enjoy these games. And I've always wanted enhancements to these games. So that's it. All right, let's switch over to some Wizardry 8.